Smell it. Mmm. Hi, I'm Sarah from GoVegan.net, and today we're going to make chocolate chip coconut cookies. But before we get started, I'm just going to show you my cookbooks over here. This is my first cookbook. It's How It All Began. It came out 10 years ago next year, so happy birthday. My second cookbook is The Garden of Vegan, and How It All Began I wrote with my friend Tanya. This book was sort of like a how-to book for vegans, so it's a really great book for newbies. There's a lot of great conventional recipes in there, because when you first go vegan you kind of feel like you're missing out on stuff. So there's stuff like lasagna and just lots of comfort food in this one. In Garden of Vegan, this book is more for people who are more comfortable with their veganism and want to do some experimenting with unusual ingredients like, let's say, lemongrass. So there's some really fun and interesting recipes in this book, and it's one of my favorites. And then this is my third book, La Dolce Vegan. This one I wrote because I'm incredibly busy. I own a tattoo shop, I have several businesses, and so I don't have a lot of time to cook. So all the recipes in this book, almost all of them, you can make in 30 minutes or less, and all the ingredients you can find at the corner store. So, I mean, it's great to make some amazing sauce with pomegranate extract, but I don't want to run to the end of town to try and find weird ingredients. So all the ingredients in this book you can find at your grocery store. And almost all the recipes in here, they make smaller servings, so 2 large servings or 4 small ones. These other 2 books, I wrote them sort of more when we were living in a punk rock house where there was like 15 people, so a lot of the recipes in here are for like 10 to 12, so you kind of have to cut them down quite a bit. And then my newest book is Vegan A Go-Go, and it's teeny tiny, it fits in your pocket. What it is it's a compilation of the first 3 books, so you have the best of recipes from those books, plus 20 new recipes, and it's small enough that you can take with you when you travel and you go see your family in Kalamazoo and you want to show them that vegan food is delicious. And today we're going to make the chocolate chip coconut cookies, which is a recipe that was done by my friend Wolfie, who lives down in Florida, and she actually gave me a lot of recipes for La Dolce Vegan, and they're all fantastic. So she actually sent me 50 recipes, and I was like, girl, you need to write your own book. But she's like, no, use my recipes. So I ended up testing them all, thinking that I would only put in a few, but pretty much every single recipe she sent me ended up in the book because they're all really stellar. And this cookie recipe is one of my favorites. It's really easy to make, and it'll fool any carnivore into thinking that they're eating something delicious. So before you start baking, the most important thing, and I'm gonna keep saying this to you until you learn it, people, the most important thing you need for baking is a standalone oven thermometer. Every oven comes with an internal thermometer, but every oven I've ever used is wrong. These little doodads you can buy at any hardware store, they're usually about 10 bucks, and what it does is it tells you what the temperature is inside the oven. It's so important that you don't put your baked goods in the oven until you're at 350 degrees or whatever temperature it is that your recipe says, because this is chemistry, and so you want everything to be perfect and you want the oven to be the right temperature. So before you start baking, you want to preheat your oven. And the other thing that you need to know is that once you've mixed all your dry ingredients together, as soon as you put liquid ingredients in, everything starts to cook. The baking soda, the baking powder, the liquid, it all starts to do its thing. So if you wait half an hour for your oven to heat up, your cookies are going to be flat and hard as a rock. So you don't want to mix everything together until you know your oven is the right temperature. So you can use a food processor if you want, but you can also do the lazy way, which is how I usually bake. So what I do is I start with my liquid ingredients or my softer ingredients. So we have half a cup of vegan margarine. This is Earth Balance margarine. I think it's the only vegan margarine on the market. I'm not too sure about that. So I'm going to throw that in here. I think my favorite smell is the smell of margarine, vanilla, and sugar. I should make a perfume. And then we have a little bit of vanilla extract. Throw that in there. And I also like to throw in my egg replacer. So the egg replacer we're going to use today is ground flaxseed. So we have 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed with 3 tablespoons of water. And you just want to mix that together. I'm going to use my finger. And then we add it into our margarine and vanilla. And you just want to make sure that this is mixed up really nicely, nice and smooth. Again, you can use a food processor if you want, but why? That's just one more thing to wash. And I am lazy. All right, so that's nicely mixed up. So you can use some flax as an egg replacer. You can use energy egg replacer if you want. There's all sorts of different egg replacers. You can use half a banana for an egg. You can use a little bit of tofu if you want. But my favorite thing for baking is the flax eggs. I just find that it works the best for me. So normally what you do is you know, if you're baking properly, you want to have your liquid ingredients in one bowl and your dry ingredients in another. We're not going to do that today. We're just going to be really careful. I'll show you my little trick. So we have our liquid ingredients here. We're going to throw in our flour, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of unsweetened coconut. What else? We got baking soda, baking powder, a little bit of salt, and chocolate chips. And so, as you can see, all the powdery stuff is on the top. So what I do is I lightly mix all the stuff up here, and then I blend it in with the liquid. It's a little bit of a cheat, but it works pretty good. So we're going to mix this all together. And you don't want to mix it too much. If you mix everything too much, you'll end up with hard cookies, and we want them to be nice and gooey and delicious. And actually, you know what, people? Let's just get dirty. I think this is the best way to blend your cookies together. If you're in the kitchen and you don't get dirty, you're not cooking right. Okay, so this is nicely blended together. This is a fairly dry dough. And what I like to do is, you know, some doughs are different. You can use a spoon to measure it out. But what I like to do is I just grab it and just roll it together about a golf ball size. And then I usually just make about 12 of them, and then I throw them on the cookie sheet, and then we'll throw them in the oven at 350 for about 8 to 10 minutes. Oh. So what I like to do is put the cookies on the cookie sheet. They don't actually spread out that much, so you can have quite a few on one sheet. And then I just like to press them down flat. And we're going to put them in the oven, which is now 350 degrees, for about 8 to 10 minutes. I like to look at them in about 8 minutes and just make sure that they're ready to go. Voila! Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, so let's take the cookies out of the oven. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Beautiful. Look at these. Perfect cookies to eat while you're watching America's Next Top Model and laughing because you don't have an eating disorder. Delicious. I'm Sarah from GoVegan.net, and this is Everyday Dish. Thanks for joining us. Oh, and the recipe's on the website, so check it out. Cheers.